Every story can have an impact on someone that may be feeling alone, or they may feel like they're in the middle of a storm and you are inspiring them. We're inspiring them with our stories that say, you're not alone. We've been where you are, and we walk beside you. We're with you.
Right on, Char. Char, I've been your friend since we became friends in about 2018. And one thing I've noticed is you've never made this about you. Why is it so important to highlight all these other stories of hope?
That's because the authors are the ones that, the people behind these voices that are so important, are the ones that make up this whole series. They're the ones that have the courage and the want to give back. They are the ones that are responsible for these books. If it wasn't for them, I would not be able to do anything. So it's really, I'm just grateful for everyone here and for all the authors that have been in every single book for just showing up and saying, we have a story and we want to give back for the blessings that we've been given in our lives. And because of that, then we publish the books and they are heard. They are appreciated. They are loved. People love our authors. So they deserve every bit of it.
If it's all right with you, Char, I'm going to ask each of our authors that are here today why they decided to write in the Mission Hope series and what they hope their chapters, how can they help with their chapters, the words they said, the message, how can it help? So I'm going to start. And who do they want to help? So take that, authors, wherever you want to go when you get that question. So, Mike Sutton, I'm going to go in how I see you on my screen. Mike Sutton, who's been with us a while. Mike Sutton, how do you hope that your words make an impact?
Hope that others have the opportunity to see, like I did just prior to Char's invite to join this group, that beyond the bleakness of maybe long winters, it seems at times, spring is so much more beautiful. I know there's folks out there that are questioning that. And in the middle of whatever they're going through, they not only question it, but they wonder if they'll ever see the sun again. And I think it's piggybacking off what Char said. It's due to the blessing we've received that we have this duty to share with them.
Thank you very much. And I've seen, if any of you have seen, Mike post pictures of the storm sometimes up in Mackinac, up that way, right? Is that where we're at, Mike?
Yes, yep, Sheboygan, just south of Mackinac.
So, are there other authors' stories that have impacted you? How has reading the books impacted you?
I enjoy the fact that just like I hope when others read mine, when I read theirs, we're no different. We come from different areas of the country, of the world, and yet our stories all are connected. We all at times are experiencing the same things in life. And I think it's just great that we can realize that.
Char, I see you shaking your head there in agreement. So, did you have a thought on that?
It is amazing that the community, the Mission Hub community, the authors, it doesn't even matter if you're a new author or you've been there in every single book, like Mike has. You come into that group and it's almost like a family welcoming a new family member in. They love you and they recognize you in their stories and you recognize them in yours. It's almost like a parallel. We, like Mike said, we all are going to go through those things, probably every single thing that everyone's written about ever. We're going to go through that, or our readers are going to go through it, or are there now. So I do think that's exactly right. We are all connected. It's about connection.
Thank you, Shar. Hey, Sarah, I saw you shaking your head on that. And Sarah has been super supportive of all the other authors as well. I see her making, what do you call it, making advertisements and promoting all the time. So, Sarah, what does being in the Mission Hope series mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I am so honored to be in the Mission Hope series and so honored that you, Shar, believed in me enough to bring me into the series. And just as Shar says, it is one big family. And as a family, we are here to support one another. And so if you see any of my posts coming out, that was especially true with the prior volume. It is really to uplift the other beautiful family members that we have here
Well,
in this tremendous mission. Thank you, Shar.
thank you, Sarah. Thank
Sa-
you.
Sarah, what do you hope that the readers get out of this Mission Hope book from you?
I will say that all of my stories and all of the books have a common thread, and that is I write from experiences that I have lived and from which I glean meaning, because many of my stories are stories of resilience, of having something absolutely shocking, something that could be life destroying happen, and then finding that resilience within and hoping to pass along those messages of resilience that I've learned to others so that they have a quote guiding light in the dark when they're going through tough times themselves.
Shar, shaking your head, go on.
That's the whole thing. It's about people identifying with the stories and being able to put themselves there or say, I'm already there and this has helped me so much. And so they don't feel alone. I think that's wonderful, Sarah. That's exactly what these books are supposed to do.
Absolutely. Let's keep this rolling. So, Suzanne, why put yourself out there and write? Why be so vulnerable and put yourself out there?
All my life, I've been a story collector. And Sarah said, stories with meaning. And I just wanted anybody who's been through what I've been through, or my friends, because I mentioned them in my chapter, to know we got through it. We got through it. And
Suzanne,
maybe someday we won't.
Suzanne, what would you say to the people going through the dark times that maybe they don't feel they're as tough as Suzanne?
Or as easy as Suzanne. I just want to say every one of us matters. Every one of us has infinite value because of the light that's inside of us. And as Shar said, every story deserves a voice. So I hope that they get out of this that, oh, other people have made it through. And maybe I will too. Maybe this will kill me. Who knows? But there is something there supporting every voice to be heard, just like the air supports the sound waves. There's something else invisible that is supporting all of our lives. And I wanted to share that, and I want people to get it. I hope they do.
Thank you, Suzanne. Zen, you talk a lot about energy in your writings and the work you do. What do you think about Suzanne's thoughts there?
I love them. We all go through our trials and tribulations, and we listen to others' stories. We find our resonance with them or our dissonance, depending. Usually, there is that thread of connection, right? We all have the ability to feel. And what these stories do is they allow us to feel and experience our own catharsis in the listening, in the contemplation, and the considerations of where am I in this, right? And where might I like to be coming out of this? And then to be able to move forward in that way, knowing that we have the encouragement of so many authors that have done it also.
Zen, before, sometimes they say in the world that you are talking to you before you had it all figured out. So, what would Zen say to a young Zen?
Listen better. As a kid, I had an interesting interest into life as an orphan and found out I was adopted shortly 4.5 years later. And that whole process got me to question things differently. And I found out that there's a voice just beyond the silence, but you have to reach it. And that's really difficult with all the chaos and the disturbance and the distractions and the push and pull of everybody wanting you to do something. And we're so codependent on serving others for the most part in our lives. And then being able to look at that and say, no, wait a minute, where am I in this? And how do I find myself in it first? And then what is there for me to experience and contribute, not just take? And our whole society has been built on taking. We've nearly destroyed our planet because of that. How do we flip that, right? How do we see that different view where those trials and tribulations bring us to a place where we're able to understand, oh, there's more here. There's something I can offer. And to be able to experience that love for self first, because if we don't have it, we can't love truly anyone else, and then share that love. Because it's come as an orphan and adoptee, my whole life has been about loving and being loved. And I believe that's truly what our core is, that desire to love and be loved.
Zen said, same questions to Eileen Bild and Dr. Joanne White. This is Mission Hope, Volume 7. These are the authors here. So, Finding Strength in Every Storm. Eileen, what would you say to the young Eileen, maybe going through some health struggles, maybe going through some personal loss? What would you say to her?
It's a great question. I often say, boy, if I knew now what I knew then, or if I knew now back then, things might have turned out differently. However, I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't gone through those experiences. So, my younger self, I agree with Zen. I would say, slow down, be present, listen more, because I do believe, based on my experiences, that we can't move forward in life unless we have achieved certain things in order for that piece to be put into that puzzle for the next one to be shown to us or be available to us. So a lot of what I believe happens is we have life lessons that we learn either the hard way or in short, brief, easy segments. And I think, unfortunately, until we're older, we learn them the hard way. And then as we gain experience and we recognize and we listen and we hear and we see what's coming down the pipeline, then we can be prepared for that next segment of the life lesson in order to become a better version of ourselves, to be kinder, to be stronger, wiser, all the things that make us valuable to the greater world as people who are of service to others and to be strong within ourselves.
Eileen, now, why put yourself out there? When you write a book, you can expose yourself and people might criticize and things like that. Why put yourself out there?
Over the years, I've had people try to stomp on me, quiet my voice, tell me that what I'm doing is not worthy, or the list goes on. And I realized that if I don't put myself out there, if I don't do the things that I'm meant to be here to do, then I'm doing a disservice to those who are meant to receive what I'm here to give. And so I've learned to say thank you, but no thank you. You can go that direction. You're not welcome in my sphere of influence because it's not uplifting. I believe Sarah said that. It's not uplifting, it's not inspiring, it's not encouraging. But if it is, you're more than welcome to engage and talk to me about your experience, my experience, be vulnerable, be open. And usually it's not as bad as what the mind puts it out to be. Naysayers, negative Nellies, all the people and entities that want to either silence or diminish the value of what is being presented and what's being shared, they're missing out. It's their loss and a greater gain for the greater good for the greater community.
Thank you, Eileen. Now we're going to go back to Char.
You're welcome.
Char, before we get to Dr. Joanne, why don't you introduce Dr. Joanne? Because she's been in a lot of these books here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Dr. Joanne and the work she does? Go on, Char.
Oh my goodness. You want me to take up the whole rest of the show, John?
Go for it.
Oh, my dear friend, soul sister Joanne White, Dr. Joanne White. She is a fabulous person, a huge heart, a very talented writer, and a great friend. She is she's a wonderful person. And as far as what she does, I think you'll have to ask her that because she does a lot. And I don't think I will do it justice. So, Joanne, tell us about you.
Firstly, thank you so much, Char. I appreciate everything you said, and you are a beautiful soul and beautiful soul sister. Thank you. I was listening to everybody, and I agree with so many of you. Our need to be able to recognize that we have courage within us, we have resilience, we can do things even when other people tell us we can't or we're done. And I had that experience growing up because I'm neurodivergent, and I talk about this. It took me years to be able, by the way, to open up about this. So when I first began to write, I did what was called mirror writing, and basically it's backwards, and the only way you can read it was to hold it up to the mirror. And I got a lot of flack from teachers to not believe that anything good was going to happen to me, that I'd be a failure, that I wouldn't be able to succeed. And I incorporated that into my head and into my own belief system. And it took years to shift that, to believe that I could move forward through hope and faith and resilience. And when I was able to do that, finally get rid of those negative thoughts that said, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're unworthy, you can't do anything, I felt that it was my responsibility to help other people, because oftentimes we listen to other people's messages about ourselves and we take that in as truth. And oftentimes we're in experiences or challenges, and if we believe that we can't get through it, we don't seem to find that path. So by this incredible community of people that are giving these stories of hope, and no matter what happened, we can get through it. It's a blessing. It's such a blessing to read the stories, and for people who think, I don't know, I'm afraid I may not be able to make it, and then they read one of the stories of somebody that was really stuck or had that same uncertainty and felt that they couldn't do it, and then they were able to. The courage and the strength and the hope. I love that hope. That hope that starts to spring up in people that are reading our stories. It's so very important, and it allows them to go on. It allows them to say, wait a minute. I'm not a failure. Wait a minute. I can do this, even though it seems impossible. I can get through it. I think I'm talking too much, but I get excited. So thank you.
You did great. And I could see that was impacting a few people in this room here. I'm watching. So this could be a podcast later or it could be interviews, but I'm watching right now. And I see that Sarah was shaking her head. So Sarah, weigh in on that.
I don't know if I can express it as eloquently as Dr. Joanne just did. And what's interesting, I did not know that you were on the neurodivergent spectrum, because I am as well, but
Right.
it's usually not something that I write about, and I was diagnosed as an adult. I had an inkling, but I was diagnosed as an adult, and then that helped me get my children later diagnosed. So that's when you really that's when I really got my ears pricked up, because it's a very different experience and challenges do come with that.
Yeah.
Silent challenges that look silent to everybody out here, but we know so well inside of our mind, right?
Yeah.
So, especially if there's no diagnosis when you're young, for me, I just thought I was the weird one. People called me the weird one all the time. I was just that weird girl. So, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with being
Exactly.
neurodivergent. That's the whole point. It's a gift because you think differently.
Yes.
That's what ends up happening is you think so differently that it turns into this creative force for good. And that's how I've harnessed it.
Sarah, to redo this, to just take me back here. So, for the people that doubted you or called you names back in the day, what would you say to them now?
I was mainly called the weird girl, and that would cause either bullying or exclusion from others. I would tell them if you see somebody and you say, that's the weird girl, think again. Think that maybe that weird girl might be on a neurodivergent spectrum, and there's really nothing wrong with her at all. Her brain just works differently, and she
Right.
can be a very great friend to you. She can be very creative, and perhaps she could be your most loyal cheerleader if you would just give her a chance.
Beautiful. Thanks for bringing that up, Dr. Joanne and Sarah. Thank you. And you have, I see Zen really shaking his head. So, Zen, did you have a few words you wanted to share?
I got a lot of words, but I'll try to keep them short. After 52 books on my own, I'm full of words. What I admire is this acknowledgement of neurodiversity, right? When I was growing up, my parents had me tested, IQ, second grade, didn't tell me. They were afraid at the results if they told me that it would go to my head. So I went through life academically, athletically, socially, just I had a magnificent life. I could go anywhere, do anything. Somebody'd say, "Oh, you can't do that." And I said, "Watch me." Right? And a lot of stuff I would do and then ask others if it was possible. Right? And I have this gift. And I've never really used it fully because I had no one to help me craft it well until I got older. And actually, until I met my twin flame, Luba, in 2016, who was born and raised in Leningrad, USSR. So here's two that came across the world and finally met each other, and it's just been glorious ever since. And she has helped me to see myself differently because she's acknowledged that she sees me. And there are, even though I'm weird, that's WYRD, correct meaning, right? There's this connection that we all have. And for me, I'm a systems feeler. I didn't realize that until somebody just gave me the label just a month or so ago. I've always thought in systems. I've worked in systems. I've had a lot of accomplishments getting people, places, and things together to accomplish some really cool stuff. National awards as well in some cases. And yet there was this part of me that was still not able to be present because people couldn't think at the level that I was thinking at, let alone articulate it. And it took me a long time to really grok that, to use a Heinlein term, and understand myself in that way and just be okay with it. Didn't change me. It just gave me an opportunity to realize, oh, all of these other things were guidance, right? That throughout it all, even the weird distractions and things like that, there's this thread that runs through it that's always giving us a way to become more whole, to feel more fulfilled in what we do, and to share that in our lives because it's an abundance, right? We were told how many years ago, a few thousand or a couple thousand at least, that we're here to have life more abundantly. What does that really mean? We got to get out of our own way. for the most part. And I see Joanne, yeah, she's not, 'cause, right, even with this intense neurodiversity and even with my podcast, I talk to thought leaders all over the world and I can speak to each one of them with equal clarity because of the background and investigation that I've had and the gift of intelligence that I was given that for a lot of years I abused. And then I finally, okay, now what can I really do with this? And then I spent a lot of time in contemplation, just asking questions and shutting up. And as I said, that still small voice that we all have access to is just on the other side of silence. We
Right.
just have to still ourselves enough to be able to listen.
Thank you, Zen. Shar, how do you get this? They mentioned diverse. How do you get this diverse group of authors from around the globe every time?
That is a good question, Tom. I'm really still not sure. That's just magic how it works. They just are the right people just find us. I don't even know how to explain it. I really don't. They are, I rarely have to reach out to anybody and say, do you think that you would, this is something that you might like doing? And people come to me and I don't know. I really don't know, Dom. I don't know.
Mr. Sutton, did you ever think your words would be connected with people all over the globe, from India to Netherlands to Australia to Dubai to Texas to California to Canada? What do you think?
Never in my wildest dreams. Never. But I think, like Char was saying, the people she said come to her, she spoke with me. I had no idea this was even out there. And I've learned since joining this family and with the use of these books, the people that follow us as individuals, to get their feedback that some of those that never had a voice are now they're writing poetry or they're writing stories. It's like they're learning from what we're putting out there, even though we don't directly come out and tell them.
That's a
And to me,
beautiful.
that's a blessing.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
That's beautiful. Eileen, what do you think about the fact that your words, people could be learning from your words?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely. Outside of the writing, with just conversations with people, especially late, they tell me at the end of a conversation, and it could be a few conversations later, you've given me hope. So I would like to think that having known Shar for who knows how long now, it's been a
Yeah,
long
all
time,
right.
and having been in a couple of the books now, that what she's created has an energy in and of itself, and it ripples out and it goes through us through our writing, but it's not just in the book, it's part of who we are. It's become a part of us. So when we're engaging out in the world, whether we're speaking to people, we're writing, whatever it may be, that series, the stories, they're all part of our life and our what we're bringing to the world. And someone said it's a blessing. I think it was you, Joanne. It is a blessing in today's world to have a group of people like this in this family that is heart centered, and they feel they have fulfillment in life. They've been through the hard times. They understand the gift of coming through the darkness, coming through and having the light push you forward. And we see, and I'm sure everybody can agree with me, we see in somebody else where we've been, and we know what it takes to get from point A to point B without the extreme struggles and all the trauma that comes with it. And that's where I think the gift of this series, Shar, is that anybody can start with book one and read through book seven, and they will see at some point in reading the stories that there is hope, that there's not a dead end for them, that all these stories ring true on some level. And what Zen was saying had me think about something else I've discovered through my years of my own journey, but also as a coach and just talking with hundreds of people. Most of us do not develop the autonomy self. And so we're all seeking to be that authentic self, to be whole, as Zen said, to feel whole, to feel like we can be ourselves without somebody knocking us down, like Sarah and Joanne, because they're different. I too have been called weird, but it's because I think different. I see the world different. I hear things differently. I was born with a 60% hearing loss. And so I have a different I receive the world differently than the average person. And so to be able to pick up on the nuances and pick up on the things because I had to learn to be able to hear people on a different level. And I think all of our stories gives not just the hope, but shines a light on where a person can take a piece of one story or multiple stories and apply the things that we've all done to get us to where we feel confident. We have the courage, we have the clarity, we have that good feeling of life, and that it brings us to where we want to say, yes, I have another day. Yes, I can tackle the world and say no to the drama and the chaos out there and create a fulfilling life.
Eileen said, I'm going to piggyback on something you said, and I just want to, Suzanne, have you ever had in any of your other chapters so far or in your writings, have you ever had somebody come up to you and say, I read your work or I saw what you did and it impacted you? And how did that make you feel?
Yes. I just came across a letter that I received 40 years ago from someone. I had written a book called Meditations for Single Moms, and someone had read that. And she wasn't the only person who responded to that book. And she said it had just been so helpful for her getting through that. And later I met someone else who said her husband had just left her, and she said the thing she was most afraid of in her life ever happening to her was being a single mom. And I could tell her it's not easy, but it is what you make it. So, yes, and more than that, I have had several letters like that from books. I don't know how they get to me because I don't give them my address, but anyway, they do.
Okay, I'm going to keep this question rolling. I'm going to give this to each of you. And so I would think you want to answer in about 45 seconds or less just because so Dr. Joanne White, have you had people come up to you from the work that you've done and the writings that you've done and say, this changed me?
Yes, and it's wonderful. It really touches my heart when that happens because, again, it's so important that we can make a difference in other people's lives and that what the work we're doing, the writing, whatever, that it does impact them. And for them to be able to take something away from writing or the work or whatever and incorporate that into themselves to feel stronger, to feel happier, to feel whole is incredible, and I love it, and that's why I continue to do it. Somebody said to me, "You're not going to retire yet?" No, why? I love helping people. Why should that ever stop as long as I
Exactly.
can do that?
Sarah, same question to you. You've tackled a lot of different subjects in the books, from pets to neurodiversity. So, have you had people come up to you and say, "Hey, this subject you tackled, it impacted me"?
I'll have to say that for people to find me with the Mission Hope books, they would have to come to a very rural island in Puget Sound. So it's very unlikely that anybody ever finds me, unfortunately.
Have you had people message you and say, "Sarah, your words impacted me"?
Yes, I have. I've had people do that in the past, and it's been really wonderful. So one lady was this is a very sad story. She had found out some horrible things about her marriage, and she was driving along some bridges in a very marshy area and wondering which one she should drive her car into. That's how down she was. And then something told her, hey, pick up this piece of reading. Go online, pick up this piece of reading before you throw it all in. And she did. And she just kept reading and reading until she realized that she didn't want to do that any longer, that she wanted to choose life. So that was very impactful, that writing can change people's lives and change major decisions like this. So that is very humbling.
Beautiful. Let's ask our Mission Hope creator this question. Char Murphy, have people come up to you and said, these books changed me, helped me, moved me, impacted me? Go on.
Absolutely. I have had I've had people read the books and then actually become authors because they read the books and it impacted them that much and they saw the value in what we're doing. And I've had people say they could not put the book down. It's a bedside book, or they've stayed up all night and had to read every story before they could sleep. Uh, there's been so many things that people have said throughout these past 4 years that we've been doing this, that just that's one of the things that keeps me going, is that people are receiving what these authors are putting out there, and it's beautiful.
Well said, Char. I had my mom passed away from Alzheimer's, and Mike Sutton, I'll ask you the same question. Mike Sutton, you shared a story with me and in the book about praying for the wrong thing at one time or praying for something different. And those words stuck with me. I was praying probably for what I wanted and not necessarily what was best for my mom or what something bigger wanted. And so I was impacted by Mike and many of you. But Mike, have you had people come up to you and say that they've been impacted?
I have, and I received quite a few messages like through Facebook, or even I've had them on LinkedIn, and I don't have words for it. It's what I had shared with you that day. It's been years, and I still feel the same way today. And I think that's a part of it, is what we've experienced in our life, to be able to see somebody else feel that and actually understand it and use it in their life. I think that's the biggest blessing we could ever get. It's amazing.
Thank you, Mike. Zen, same question to you. You've written all these books. So what do you just have an army of people coming up to you every day? What, same question.
No, because I usually write over the heads of most people. That's just the part of the neurodiversity in me. I write for me, and most of it is that cathartic process. And throughout my life, I've gone through multiple layers and levels and dimensions and planes, and the rain in Spain does fall on the plane. However, it doesn't stay long. And in that progression, I've had various people that Facebook, LinkedIn, in person come and say, there was this one little thing. I thought your writing was really bizarre, but there was this one thing you said that just really struck me. And I know as an educator, you have to set up a logic path in order for someone. You got to build on their prior knowledge, give them a skill set and understand their skill set, and then lead them to their own answers because they have them. Now, in that place, finding that for me, I go, sometimes I have long droughts where nobody says anything, and I wonder, what the hell am I doing? And then one person will speak up and acknowledge something, and it not only makes my day, it makes my month. And having that is so precious, just to know that I've touched one person means the world to me. And to have that reflection, there's three of you. I've interviewed Eileen and Susan and Char. Matter of fact, I interviewed Char, I think, before she even started the Mission Hope series.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe that was part of the inspiration
Mhm.
of that, because our conversation was really deep and connected and wondering what's next? What can we do? Let's be curious. What's there for us? to explore and experience and elucidate, right? And this is what we do. We explore, we experience, we have truth from that. It never comes from a book or anybody else. It always comes through our experience. And then we can share that because we know it, right? It's not a belief. There's a lot of belief systems out there. I operate on an experience system, and I hope others do too.
Thank you, Zen. Appreciate it. Eileen, you're walking down the street, you're checking Messenger. Zen said it could be a week, it could be a month, but do you ever get that little notification or message and somebody says, Eileen, those words, they touched me? And how does that make you feel?
I do get that. And I've gotten it through all the different various ways that I write, whether it's an article or I do my morning or evening musings on Facebook or in a book. And what inspires me to keep doing what I do is when someone out of the blue, like it'll be quiet for a little bit, like what Zen just mentioned, and I'm like, okay, do I keep doing what I'm doing or do I just put it aside and not worry about it? But when someone out of the blue says, don't stop your musings because I really like them. I look forward to them. Keep doing what you're doing. So, it's when the small little nudges show up is for me makes the biggest difference. And there's one story that comes to mind with Sarah's, what she shared. Years ago, I wrote an article and a friend shared it with his niece who was suicidal. And he wrote me back a month or two later. He said, I just want to let you know your article, my niece said it saved her life. I always keep that experience in mind with what I do because I'm a poetic writer. A lot of my writing is about life, but it's in a way that people can digest and take in that is storytelling. It's storytelling and not you need to do this, you need to do that. I never write like that. And I think people appreciate that because they can connect with it on whatever level, as Zen was saying, their truth and it helps them to realize whatever they're thinking, whatever is going on in their life. Again, there's that hope because of what I've said that they're going to be okay and that they matter.
Love it. Char Murphy, did you ever think when you started sharing your story that you would help all these other storytellers share their stories? And what does that mean to you knowing that it's almost like a giant web of connection that your story of overcoming cancer 4 times and the hardships that you've faced, you've used those to connect probably millions. So what do you think, Shar?
No, I did not ever think that I would be doing this, but no, I didn't. But I did realize that my story had an impact on a lot of people. And actually, you were the first person that said to me, why haven't you written a book? And it really was amazing because I had always wanted to write a book. And then, of course, though, once the cancer happened, and that was a story that needed to be told. And you brought that out of me, but you also brought out more than that. You brought out the whole creator in me that had been the lawyer sitting behind the desk that was just, that was not very creative. But back to your question, I am really amazed by it, but by the fact that people are attracted to stories. And when they read a story and see themselves in it or experience it, then it is like a little light bulb going off. Okay, if she can tell her story or he can tell his story, then I can too. And that story really impacted me. So maybe my story can impact someone else. And so it's just been like a match. When you in a matchbook, one strike lights one match, and then that match lights the other ones and on down the road. And it's just been like that because these authors do give people hope. They give them so much hope that they realize that they have, not only can they get through what they've been through, but they can talk about it too later and help other people because they've been helped by these books, these authors. And I think that's a real blessing too.
Thank you, Char Murphy, and thank you for being vulnerable long ago and being one of the first people to step out of that comfort zone and share that story of the pain, the hurt, and the hopeful, and think that maybe if I share this, other people can heal and find strength. So, Mission Hope, finding strength in every storm. I'm going to go around the room one more time and ask, based on this chapter, the chapters you wrote in Mission Hope number 7 specifically, what do you hope that the reader can glean from that? And I'm going to start with Eileen, you're first.
I think with this one, this story, I told Char that it's the first time I've ever combined all of my experiences into one story. So it's my lifelong journey of the trials and tribulation and coming through each one and becoming a stronger version of myself. So I think for me, if anybody reads my story, that they can see that no matter how many stages of trials and tribulation they have, there's always a way out, and there's always a way to be stronger, better, happier, more joyful, more fulfilled. And it's a choice. And I chose to declare the healing and the coming through to the other side.
Beautiful. Zen, you have some great eye contact here. So even looking at Zen, he just always looks present. So Zen, Ja, well done on that. What do you hope, Zen, that people get from your chapters in Mission Hope 7?
I write about the most traumatic period of life that I've ever been through. I wanted to be the best father, husband, worker, church servant, and according to what everybody thought, right? And all of it was ripped away. Nothing worked, no matter what I did. And I was in integrity the entire time with what I wanted to do and how I did things and the love that I shared in the process. Nobody ever got it. So everything that I thought should have been okay and work out and make a great life, none of it worked. And so I had to restart from scratch. After a divorce, family went back to Indiana. I got expelled from the church. I got expelled from my job in the aerospace industry where I'd been one of their top employees and rose to the top of the charts. And they came to me and asked me how I did it. It was interpersonal skills, right? In the 80s, that wasn't a good word in a command and control structure, right? And the same with my marriage. I put my best foot forth. I was going to school, working, serving in the church. And instead of my wife following that example, she went elsewhere for affection. And with 3 kids and soon a fourth, that just wasn't a good example for them. So those types of things were just devastating to me. And I cried a lot in that transition. And then things changed because I chose a new path and I listened.
Zen has a good power pause at the during his speaking. Well done, Zen. Dr. Joanne White, I've learned a lot from you through your chapters. What do you hope the reader learns from your chapters this time?
One of the things that I remember that really touched me, and I think something that's important, is as we're writing, we are also going through our own healing experiences through what we've been through again and again, and that's just very profound. One of the things I've been writing was about when I was taking a caregiver to my mother, and she had dementia and she had a lot of other things, and it was very difficult to face the fact that she was going to die. And I had to get through that and have the courage to be able to heal myself, but also to see what a tremendous gift it was to have those moments, those last moments with her, to be able to be there in her life. And I think that's so important. And also, I think that, again, when we go through whatever it is, whether it's taking care of someone else or being there in a very difficult situation, one that we feel that's almost insurmountable, by reading our chapters, people can think, I can do it. She did it. He did it. They did it. I can do it too. And that is so incredible. I was working with someone who wanted to commit suicide, and that was very difficult. And reading some of our chapters and reading my story, she had hope. She said, I can do this. I'm not ready to go. Even though I thought I'm done, I'm not done. And she's celebrating life for the first time in so many years. So I think what we do is almost like a celebration of getting through the hard times that we even thought maybe we won't make it. Maybe it's impossible. And one of the other things I talked about in that book is about my partner who went through and still going through a very difficult infection in his spine, that he had the resilience to connect with other people in the rehab center, to do whatever he needed to do to get through it, even though he's looking at it may be time to go, and being able to confront that with courage and love and blessing to other people that help him and support him and love him. And that's important too.
Dr. Joanne, very well done.
Thank you.
Suzanne, you are also articulate. I'm sitting here, damn, I wish I would have answered like that. Suzanne, what do you hope people get out of your chapters?
I would say, don't give up. When I was faced with the reality of becoming a single mom, I did want to die. And the Spirit told me, you can't die, your life is eternal. And then said, it's going to be all right. And she's 51 years old now, and it has been. She still has her struggles, but it's going to be all right for her too. And I hope she can take that just from looking at people who made it through.
Thank you. Sarah, you open up about different parts of your life in this book. What do you hope people get from your chapters?
I actually wrote a poem to sum up what I believe is a very powerful message for those who are reading the chapters. And the concept is that whatever happens to you, you need to just rise. So if they doubt you, and if they talk about you, and when money runs thin, and when the best laid plans fall apart, you need to just rise. And the road might twist, the storms will come. Let it shake you, allow it to hurt a little. Then just rise. Rise when it would be easier to stand down. Rise when no one claps. Rise when the world feels like it's ready to collapse. Rise when others have simply given up. Rise through your fears. Rise when the answers seem unclear. The setbacks will come, and the critics will speak. They prefer you to fall fast asleep and to enter the land of quitting. But rise anyway. Strength comes from doing. Courage is forged from trials. When your quest falls upon the knife's edge, just rise. So let the hard days come. Allow the hard things to flow over you until they become soft. Do it again and again. Put on your steel-toed boots, kick up the dirt, cause a stir, and just rise. So So that's what I hope they get from my chapters, and they will find that poem in one of the chapters.
Well done, Sarah. Got some clapping hands from the rest of the group here.
Thank you.
You are all almost making me cry. I sit here thinking, like, me and Char, like, this is why we do it. Yeah, to help other people. And when the stories you're telling me, I'm sitting here, I gotta wipe my eyes or something so that I don't thinking that we can impact one more person and one more person. And to Mike, I'm going to ask you the same question, but Mike earlier today said when he first got into Char's books, he didn't know there was this whole world of connection and things like that. So, Mike, what do you hope that people get from your chapter in this book?
Maybe they could pick up on that point right there, that it's not who we are or what our individual stories are as writers, but the fact that we are no different than they are. We just happen to have been in a spot and had the opportunity to write. They could get there, but they're not going to do it if they don't fight for it. It's not to give up. There's always going to be sunshine. I wrote this morning on a post that we often see storms. In the middle of a storm, you might get a glimpse of the sun, but there's always the sun after the storm. And just wait it out if need be. Dig deep, hold on, and wait it out. It'll shine again. And if they get that much out, that's more than I could ever hope for.
Good.
That just gives me another great day.
Mission Hope, Finding Strength in Every Storm, Volume 7. Char, would you like to give your lovely authors here and everybody listening a final word of encouragement, final word of hope?
I am full of hope after this day. This has been amazing. It's just to hear each one of them express themselves on their stories and how they want them to affect other people and or impact other people. I've never doubted their depth, and their stories are all so deep and so real and so authentic that it's just amazing. This has been a real treat, Dom. Thank you so much, because and to bring everybody together like this, it you just feel the connection between all of us almost. It's pretty amazing. And I'm just so grateful for every one of you all, and you, Dom, for inciting hope in me a long time ago, and that I could write my own story. And then from there, you backed us the whole time, and you've backed me. And I'm just so grateful for you and everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Char. And such a brilliant story. You have such a great message. What would you say, that Char, in your beautiful storytelling way, what would you say to the person out there that hasn't written their story yet, that thinks they have something to say, and just they're like, nobody will read it, nobody will pick it up, it's going to cost too much money, it's going to be too hard, I don't know how to edit, all these excuses, all these reasons? What would you say to that person that thinks they have something to say?
If they have just one tiny spark of hope that their story can help someone else to keep going, just even taking baby steps, I would say go for it. Just start writing your words, writing what you feel in your heart. And you can do it. You can do it. And there's people that will encourage you and love you. And then your confidence will grow, and you can become a really great writer. It may happen soon. You may realize, wow, I really have a talent. I really love this. This is great. And that's kind of how it works, actually. Once you get a taste of that feeling that you get from helping someone else through your words and your story, then it just lights a fire in you that nobody can put out. And that's why we all keep doing it, is because we are being of service and we are helping people. And it's just addictive, really. It's just a feel good thing to do, and it's giving back. So I would just say go for it. You don't have anything to lose.
You heard it right here. Go, authors, writers out there, go for it. These are some of the authors from Mission Hope, Volume 7, Finding Strength in Every Storm. Go out and get yourself a copy. Get your copy from your favorite author. Find their email, find their website. Go buy a whole bunch of copies from them and give it to your friend. Give it to the person that needs a message of hope. Here it is from the Mission Hope authors. Follow them, find them. They're out there. And make sure you share your story. Your story matters. Thank you very much.